It's been a while since we talked about Karen Reed. And boy, Karen Reed is still under fire. I mean, this woman's life, it's now 4 years, they're still coming after her. She was acquitted in June of 2025 on 3 counts, right? They tried to pin her for murder, involuntary manslaughter, of her boyfriend, Boston cop John O'Keefe at the time. There are now, at this point, even though she was acquitted on the criminal charge, there are 3 cases outstanding. The O'Keefe family is, they had filed their state civil suit against Karen ahead of time, so that's still going. They're going after Karen and 2 bars in town for the wrongful death of their beloved John. Okay. I mean, I don't see how a criminal trial, there's an acquittal across the board on that, and then somehow a civil trial goes their way. So I don't think that's going anywhere. Then, second, there's Karen versus the McAlberts, all those people that were in the house that tried to pin the murder on her. She's going after all, which I love. What do you do when she's found the energy to fight back? And she's going after all the bozos who tried to pin murder on her. She's accusing them of conspiring with members of Massachusetts State Police and Canton, Massachusetts Town Police in their sham investigation. Now, that's a federal case because she's alleging that, government actors, state and local police, conspired to deprive her of due process and equal protection under the law, which, makes this a federal matter. Plus, there's big money on the line, right? She should get paid millions of dollars in that. I'm sure she's going after it. And, now the third case is those bozos, the drunk ex-cops and their friends are countersuing her and her co-defendant, Turtleboy, for defamation, for impugning their great character. So, with that, we welcome Karen's co-defendant, Turtleboy. It's been a minute. Aidan Kearney, there he is, Turtleboy. How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you doing, Billy?
Well, I'm doing okay, but I don't have, a defamation suit wasn't filed against me. He swatted it away like a nasty little gnat. How are you feeling right now? What's going on?
I feel great. I mean, we're finally going to be able to get justice for John O'Keefe. This is a gift. These buffoons, in an attempt to save their rightfully discredited names, have filed a ridiculous and hilarious lawsuit that is only going to open themselves up to all sorts of depositions in which they will essentially be put on trial for the murder of John O'Keefe. I mean, this is a gift. We wouldn't have had this opportunity had they not filed this lawsuit.
So you can basically try them for their involvement in his or alleged involvement in John's murder. You can basically try them while defending yourself, against defamation.
Yeah, because our defense is that this is everything I said is true, right? My defense, the ultimate defense to defamation is the truth. Right. And so if I believe that the truth is that John O'Keefe went inside that house, was murdered inside that house and planted outside that house, then we need to delve into that. We need to ask these people questions about that. And we need to ask for things that Beverly Cannoni might have denied. Like Karen Reed never got Brian Albert's cell phone. Like she tried twice. She filed 2 Rule 17 motions to get his cell phone and was denied. But now he has initiated a lawsuit in which we would like to see his cell phone. I mean, we're alleging that that he was killed inside that house. And they're the ones that initiated the lawsuit, not us. And so we have rights. And so we're going to ask, obviously, that's just one example of many things. I mean, Brian Higgins, what's on his phone? We never found out because he
threw it away.
He destroyed it. Yeah. So like what was on there? We need to see that. Let's talk about 227. Let's talk about that Google search. Let's subpoena Google. Let's get to the bottom. You have some guy named Ian Whiffen who testified that he literally rewrote the software to eliminate that from Cellbrite, but he also admitted it's still on.
The search, you mean how long to die in cold when
the 227 Google search that incriminates her and implicate, because we all agree that if she Googled that at 227, she's involved in plotting to murder John O'Keefe. If you believe that Google search happened, which it says it did, and an expert testified that it did, and another expert from Wake Forest who spoke with Vanity Fair said that it did, then it would be a very reasonable and rational conclusion to reach that she was involved in plotting the murder.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's going to get expensive though, right? I mean, to have, if in order to defend yourself against defamation, you're going to then move to subpoena, Google for them to show what happened at 2:27 in the morning after John is, deceased. And, Jen McCabe Googles how long to die in cold? How long would it take for someone to, it all looks terrible, but that's going to cost money. The whole trying this thing is going to cost money. You and Karen are co-defendants. Karen, has her, but you have separate legal teams, right? This doesn't mean you have the same. You don't get Alan Jackson and all of this in his squad, do you?
That's right. I don't know who's on Karen. I don't even know if I haven't heard that Karen's hired anyone specifically for this. She has civil attorneys for her other lawsuits involving the McAlberts, but I haven't heard any announcements about, attorneys for this one. But yeah, I will not have, we're going to have separate attorneys, although we are clearly rowing in the same direction against the same common enemy, and we're being accused of the same thing by the same people, and our defense is going to be very similar, I would assume. It's that we were telling the truth. I mean, what are you supposed to do in the United States of America if you believe in your core that something happened and you can't say that thing?
The question on
Because
defamation is going to be, did you say, I believe this is what happened, or did you say this happened?
Well, it's implied. If I say something this happened, then it's implied that I believe that because I'm the one that's saying it. I used to teach kids that when I was a history teacher, and I would teach them how to write stories. A lot of kids would write, they would say, in my opinion, this, blah, 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 blah. And I
You
would
can
teach
say
them,
that and you're
I
protected.
go, I
Defamation
go,
cannot
but
happen
no,
to.
but I would teach them, get rid of in my opinion. We know it's your opinion because you're writing it down. We know it's your opinion. Like you don't have to preface
So that's a
everything.
technicality that you're right. Okay, so you're saying, I have to say these people did it. They murdered Karen Reed.
That's clearly my opinion. Is it
All
not?
you didn't
I
do
mean,
is IMO.
right, exactly. Like I think it goes without saying that's my opinion. And,
How much?
they'll tell you that they're going to say that, oh, he said, they have one quote in there that I think they said that I said, like, this is a fact, not an opinion. That doesn't change the fact it's an opinion. I could say whatever the hell I want to say. I could say the sky is green. It's not green. Okay. You get a little hyperbolic, whatever, right? It's still, my opinion is based on facts and evidence. That's the thing. I didn't just pull this out of nowhere. I didn't make this up. Like the evidence shows it. And we have to go through that evidence to show the jury that this is a perfectly reasonable conclusion for any person to reach. And then it's not just me. I mean, they're acting like me and Karen are these geniuses who somehow brainwashed millions of people into believing that John O'Keefe was killed inside that house. But if they want to, we can get people to write thousands and thousands of affidavits in which they explain how they reached the conclusion that John was killed inside that house, independent of anything me or Karen said.
I think what they're going to question is, or what they're alleging, it seems, is that there was defamation and you declared these things and it was all at the behest of Karen Reed, that she was somehow a mastermind who was telling you what to do. Something tells me, Turtleboy, that you're a guy that nobody tells what to do, not Karen,
Yeah.
not anyone.
I think Karen Reed would be the first one to tell you that. Yeah, and I
Right.
would, and vice versa. Thus we have two similar personalities like that. Thus the butting of heads, I guess. But yeah, certainly you're not going to tell me what to do, and she's not going to tell me what to do. The fact is that her 94-page affidavit filed by Alan Jackson on April 12th, 2023, that was not sent to me by her. That was sent to me by other people who were like, check this out. This is an interesting story. And I read it, and everything that Alan Jackson alleged in there came with an exhibit like that backed up his assertions. Like, for instance, he claimed that, John's phone showed him going, Apple Health data showed him going up and down 3 flights of stairs. And then they include a screenshot of that in the, as an exhibit in the affidavit. So Certain like that is a reasonable conclusion for someone to reach that John is in the house if his phone is going up and down 3 flights of stairs. That's not defamation. That's just what happened. And how come they can allege in their filings that Karen Reed did? They literally they defame her repeatedly in this. They say that she killed John O'Keefe. Two juries determined that didn't happen. That John O'Keefe wasn't hit by a car,
Yeah.
and that a car did
Talk
not
about
strike him. So,
defamation. I mean, Jesus,
yeah.
the whole thing is
So,
built
like,
on reverse.
why is it legally okay to say she did it, but not legally okay to say they did it?
That'll be answered. So right now, you guys are together on this trial. What's interesting is that there was a little bit, go back months ago. There was a little break in your relationship, a little riff in your relationship. You and Karen had right because there was, I guess, are
Yeah.
we supporting each other? I fought for you. Are you showing up for me? But now look at this picture. It seems that you're back together. So this is right. Is there
Well, they've certainly
a
united us
healing?
in a common goal, against a common enemy. If that was their goal, I guess they're gonna succeed because her and I have no choice now but to row in the same direction on this. We have the same common defense. And yeah, I mean, this is big picture stuff. This is what actually matters. All the stuff that's happened since the trial, any division or personal differences between her and I don't really matter. What matters is the fact that we're both being sued by these people who framed her for murder. And I've always fully supported Karen Reed because she's innocent, and I will continue to support her no matter what because the truth is the truth, and it's not a crime to say that, and it's not defamation to say that.
Now the judge can do whatever they want. I mean, they can throw out Karen's part and say, well, she didn't direct him, and she never said point blank. She was too busy fighting for her life, trying not to go to jail for the rest of her life to defame. So the judge is going to say, what if the judge says, no, Karen's out of this thing. It's now Turtleboy alone. Are you prepared? If that happened, would you be prepared to raise a shit ton of money and go? I mean, it's going to be expensive. So what's
Oh, very
the
expensive.
plan?
Yeah. Well, it's always been Turtleboy against the world. That's the thing about it. So that would be nothing new for me if that were to happen. And either way, I'm going to have to raise money because we're going to have different lawyers, and my lawyers, Mark Betterow and Tim Bradle, will still be involved in this case. They'll probably take a similar role to the one that Alan Jackson has played in Karen's civil case. In that Alan Jackson is not the lead guy
No.
in that. Damon Seligson and Rosenberg are the two appear to lead attorneys in her civil suit. Alan Jackson is there to I don't know, assist,
Advise,
overview,
head
you know what I mean?
coach,
Whatever, yeah, advise, yeah, all that
counsel.
stuff. So
Yeah.
like he's because he's so familiar with the case and he's intricately, and so I would assume that whoever I have not hired an attorney yet, we're working on that. But when we do, he'll take a similar role to Seligson and Rosenberg, and Bradle and Betterow will take a similar role to Alan Jackson.
But you're going to fight this all the way. And do you feel? I mean, you have a pretty great community there that supports you, that follows you. Will they? Are you confident that we'll be able to? Oh, here we go. Otto 1630 in the comment section. May 17 fundraiser with turtles all around it. So what's happening on May 17? That's a fundraiser for your defense in this.
Yeah, so I'm doing a 12-hour live stream of a fundraiser for myself on my channel in which I'm 12 to 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. I'm gonna have all sorts of guests on. You've received an invitation. We'd love to have you on.
I accept.
But
I accept. It's the
awesome.
least I
So
got.
you'll be there.
You've been gracious to come on here before. I will. I'll be there. You can.
Yeah, I'm trying to, stagger, the times about when people will come on, but, committed guests so far include, Melanie Little, Will
Oh yeah.
DeGlaire, Auntie Deb. I've reached out to David Inetti. I would love to get him on. The Matas, Ian Runkle, Andrea Burkhart, Broken Bigger. The list goes on and on. So we got a lot of like really good people who are well known on YouTube and supporters of mine, lawyers, legitimate people. And, that all I'd love to hear their perspective on this. And our goal is to raise $50,000 in that one day, which I think we can definitely do. Because as you said, this is going to be expensive. And I'm also facing criminal charges we have a motion to dismiss for that on May 14th.
Wow.
Fighting two battlefronts right now.
Does this ever just like get? I mean, like, you got a lot of fight in you. You're a guy that anybody would want in their foxhole. But does this ever just like? Are you over it? Are you like, God, this needs to go away, or do you relish the fight? Is that sort of that Trumpist, the Trump I love to fight thing?
Both, I guess. I mean, I do love the fight, and I do love the fact
Are
that
you
you
wearing
get to.
taped wrists right now? Did I see a
I got
hand?
a YouTube injury.
You look like you actually are going to go fight after this.
I actually have a YouTube injury. So I'm on the DL. So I drink so much out of a Stanley, and Stanleys are heavy, especially if you put like ice in them. And this motion right here of picking up the Stanley with my right has like destroyed my elbow. So I have tennis elbow apparently so I
So
have
do
an actual
I.
YouTube injury. Yeah.
I thought it was from pickleball. You're telling me it's a YouTube injury? What?
It's a YouTube injury, yeah, from the
Oh,
Stanley. Yeah. That repeated motion, because it was like every time I would pick it up, it would start getting, and I'm like, you just think it's a little pain, and then it just gets worse and worse. And you go to the doctor, and you're like, oh, yeah, you have tennis elbow. And I'm like, she asked what I did with it, and I'm like, I do this motion a lot. And they're like, that definitely did it.
a YouTube injury. That's unbelievable. I actually have it worse. I've got, not only do I have tennis, I've got tennis elbow, which is the outside, golfer's elbow, which is the inside. And then 2 days ago, I'm just working and I get up and I'm like, oh, that feels weird. And I swear to God, I can't raise my arm right now. My whole right arm is defunct. And it was simply from my laptop, like my computer. I'm getting a
laptop injuries.
cortisone shot today at 12 o'clock because I've got a golf match, like a tournament match that I have to, I'm too competitive to fold. I'm not walking away. So I got a cortisone shot at noon and I'm teeing off at 1:15 in an elimination match. I mean, I hope it
I
works
feel
by
you,
that time.
Don't let anyone tell you that YouTube.
Yeah.
It ain't easy.
This is dangerous stuff. Turtleboy is with us.
Street.
He is co-defendant in this defamation suit filed by Brian Albert and Jen McCabe and Colin Albert and Brian Higgins, and it's in Barnstable, right? Barnstable Superior Court. And nothing's happened yet, right? There's no hearing that's been set. There's nothing. It's just that they made their press release and announced that they were coming after you. That's it.
Yeah, so I got served officially yesterday.
Oh,
It's not official till you get served. So it came to my house, constable gave me the paperwork. So now the clock is
what does a
started.
constable look like in 2026? It's a name that just sort.
It's just a guy,
Did he have buckles on his shoes and like was it rolled up in a scroll when he handed it to you?
No, I just look like a civilian. Just knocking on the door, gives me a piece of folder there and hands it to me, and I open it up. And I've seen this lawsuit already, and it let me know that I had, I think, 30 days to respond to this in writing, and I have to answer each of the interrogatories and a yes or no. That's how it starts. You have to either admit it or deny it. Each of the claims. So it's like 115 or 16. I forget how many claims that they have on here, and so they're giving us time, and then we'll write it. I don't know when the first hearing date on this would be, or what our legal strategy would be going forward. But Barnstable's nice. It's in summer in the Cape. Could be worse.
All right, let's whip around here. Wawa says in the comments section, let's do a whip around here for your pals and Turtleboy and Turtleboy's supporters. Here we go. Aidan is so calm. Good for him, says Karen. These lawsuits, a waste of time. If anyone has a question, by the way, for Turtleboy, please hop in there and we'll get to that. Steve, you keep an eye on those while I ask you this. Is it in the interest of Massachusetts State, but anyone that's in government in the Commonwealth, for this to keep going? I mean, they were deeply embarrassed in the criminal trial in June 2025 when these four people file their defamation suit against you. And don't you think, like most people in authority there are like, can we just get out of this now and get away? And then these people just double down. I don't know why they want to keep it going. And I would wonder if there's not pressure on this judge to throw the whole thing out, because find anything. Find a reason that saves face for whoever you can to end this, because they can't stand the embarrassment anymore. They already look too shady and too corrupt.
Yeah, it's bizarre why they'd want to keep being in the public spotlight like this. The only explanation I can reach is that they believe that what they're doing is they're trying to act like innocent people. Like innocent people who have been defamed like this would probably file a lawsuit. So they're like asking themselves, what would an innocent person do? Well, that. So I guess we'll do this to kind of make it look like we actually believe that we're innocent. That's the only conclusion I can reach. Because if you wanted to sue someone for this, like suppose there was a world in which they actually were innocent, right? In which that they didn't do anything to John, right? Something like that. Well, who's the real cause of the belief that they did this? That would be the police. That would be the state police and the Canton police. Like if they had done a proper investigation into, and searched the house and there was no
Yeah.
blood inside and they could have been cleared as suspects and they could prove that Colin wasn't there at that time. If they did also an actual investigation into this and it cleared these people and exonerated them, then there would be no speculation as to who did this. If they didn't plant taillight, I mean, they planted taillight. Who wouldn't on Brian Albert's property? So, like, if I were the McAlberts and I were completely innocent, I would be suing the police, right, for screwing this thing up and putting me in this position where all these people think that I did it. Instead, they're going after the two people who pointed out their odd behavior and their lies and all these things that added up 227 Google searches, all this stuff that made it look like they were hiding something and that they possibly covered up the murder of John O'Keefe.
Yeah. Why did they wait 3 years to file, says Robin in the comments section.
It's a great question. There's a 3-year statute of limitations for defamation in Massachusetts. So I wrote my first article or made my first post about this on April 17th, 2023. I published it the next day on the 18th, and I got this lawsuit was filed on April 16th of 2026. So they had one more day to file this lawsuit, basically, if they wanted to include my initial writings about this. So, but the question is, why didn't they do it before? Like, why weren't they doing this? Like when it happened,
Right.
like
So
why
they
would they
it's
do it like
obviously
when?
there was a painstaking decision. They mulled over it, and then at the very end, it was certainly wasn't a unanimous thing. It doesn't seem very cocksure. Is that the use? Was that a right use of the word? I hope so.
But I'll tell
Um,
you one thing, this is the appropriate venue. If you feel like you have been smeared or wronged or lied about, this is the appropriate venue to do it is in civil court, not criminal court. Like that's the problem with my witness intimidation charges is they are like a substitute for a defamation. Like, okay, you guys feel like I've lied about you, that I've wronged about you, that I've smeared you. So then sue me. Don't arrest me for witness intimidation. Sue me if you, and then we can deal with it in civil court. But no, they use the mechanisms of the state because the state is free. They don't have to pay the Norfolk District Attorney's Office to charge me, but they do have to pay their lawyers. And that's another question: is who's financing this? This is very expensive. They have 5 lawyers, including Christopher Matei. They got, oh, I'm told it's a bigwig down in Connecticut because he sued Alex Jones. Like that was hard. I could sue Alex Jones and win, but who's paying these guys? Like, where are they coming up with this money? There's no way they're paying this
I know
themselves.
it's going to be expensive too.
Yeah.
I still think it's. I think it's either part or the whole thing will probably be thrown out. I don't think Massachusetts wants any further embarrassment. Here's Nicole. She says, hey, Bill, oh, it's a super chat, baby. Hey, Billy and Dr. T, just had to say, after going through everything you wrote the past 4 years on Melanie's show the past few days, you are a master class. There's zero doubt because of you. There's a little love right there.
Yeah, Melanie's done a great job breaking this down and actually going through the footnotes and the links that they include in there. And they include a lot of my articles. And when you actually click on the articles and read them, you can see how well researched my journalism is and exactly how I came to this conclusion. So if they want to enter that into evidence, knock yourself out.
There's a question before that said, who are you looking most forward to deposing?
Oh, great question. Um, Colin Albert. I have so many questions
I was
about
going to
his,
say,
his
out of the
doc-
4, that's the one that I'm most interested in. What are you doing in there, Colin? Don't you think you should be, laying very low?
Well, it's just his story about the knuckles and they got that way by falling on. I have so many questions about that, right? But it's not necessarily just limited to the four defendants. I mean, I have tons of questions for all of them, obviously, and I assume they're all going to lie about everything that they
That's
say.
amazing. Yeah, Colin Albert, the nephew, who's, by the way, had his own, history of problems in the state. If I'm not, I don't want to say anything wrong here, but he had a DUI thing
No, not that's Chris.
Oh, Chris. Okay, I'll take that
Yeah.
back, Colin. But Colin's the younger guy. Some of his buddies, he's a rambunctious sort of fella, is he not? And
Yes. So he's the
okay,
one that made those TikTok videos threatening the Advantage boys. Bang, bang, we gonna mess you dogs up, all this stuff. Like he's a big hardo. And then he testified on the stand that he'd never been in a fight before. But after he testified, I had three people send me videos of Colin fighting, and they never got to question him about
and
that.
he's got
And one
bruised
question,
knuckles that he said he fell down on the
yeah,
ice and I had to brace
right,
myself. Who braces a fall
with a
with
knuckle.
knuckles?
Yeah, who does that? Like that sounds pretty crazy to me. And also, I'd like to, I just, I don't, I would have asked Colin if I was Alan Jackson on the stand. So you've never been in a fight before? Okay, so then you're just a poser then. So you're just the kind of guy that makes videos threatening to beat people up, but you've never actually been in a fight before. Is that correct?
Right.
And make him answer that. And we're going to be able to ask him, like, you say you've never been in a fight before. Play clip one, please. Here you are in a fight. Here's clip two. You in a fight again. So you lied on the stand. So we're supposed to believe you now. You're suddenly, I mean, have you ever been in a
Right.
fight before? Is this AI?
Look
Maybe
at
you
this
can explain it
question.
to me.
Look at this question. You see it on the screen. I heard you're getting deposed soon. How are you going to answer any questions while your criminal charges are pending?
Yeah, I'll have to talk to my lawyers about that, but I'm assuming that we're going to stay the deposition. I'm assuming because obviously you have Fifth Amendment rights, and they're going to want to ask all about that sort of stuff, and because they're working in conjunction with the Commonwealth, and they're just so we certainly have. I mean, Karen Reed was able to stay her deposition with the O'Keefe's because she had her criminal proceedings going on as well.
Right. Okay. Yeah, these people are going crazy about the. Oh, there's a big super chat. Love this. Love from Denmark. This is from Ellen. Why the lack of coverage of Aidan's cases, you think?
Well, I think that I don't know. I definitely think that the fact that they've paired me with Karen Reed again is going to increase because when I was by myself, when it was just me and there was a rift between Karen and I, maybe that, the fans of Karen Reed weren't as interested in my case. But certainly now they have lit the fire again. It's like Pearl Harbor. What did, Franklin Roosevelt say after Pearl Harbor? That they had awoken a sleeping giant,
Yeah.
right? And that's what they've done with this. They've awoken a sleeping giant. They've brought Karen Reed and I back together again. And I think that's going to backfire on them.
By the way, that super chat was in Danish krones. I
Oh,
didn't.
enjoy your crones.
Wow.
Yeah, it might be about $7. We're thinking we try the workout back here.
$7. Okay. And I like that, though. I think I didn't know we had an exchange thing in here. That's interesting. All right. Well, listen, this thing's, we'll see what it could be. I mean, they're obviously a motion to dismiss is going to happen. And I got a feeling that, that judge, unless that judge wants to put his state, and he's getting a lot of pressure to grant that motion for dismissal. And I think what you said about the fact that they got it in just with 1 day left says a lot too. So you may not have to go through it, but it looks like with taped wrists, you're ready to do it.
Yes, that's the plan. If they want to do it, I don't back down from a fight. So let's go.
All right, folks, we thank Turtleboy. As always, hop in his community. Turtleboy is he's a live streaming machine, and he knows a lot about... last little super here. TB, serious question. Will you, what does that say? Finally stay single? And if not, have you implemented a new screening process?
No comment, but yeah, certainly, I will definitely be much more careful about who I date moving forward for sure.
Uh-oh. What is that referring? Did you get a mole? Did you date a mole? Is this...
Well, yeah, I dated a woman who kind of went, she helped with my legal case a lot, and then things went south. There was some hacking involved on her part, and Long story short, we had a restraining order. She tried to get a restraining order on me, and we had a restraining, and then I got one on her. So we had mutual restraining orders, and then we had a two-party hearing where the judge was going to decide whether or not to extend them for a year. And it happened about a week or so ago, and it's all on video. It was one of the most entertaining hearings you've ever seen in your life. And the long story short, the judge that rightfully denied her order, he also denied mine. And so neither of us have orders on the other.
Okay. Turtle Boy, we'll see you May 17th, if not before. Boy, it's a big day. That's a Sunday, right?
That's
Saturday.
a Sunday. That's correct.
Sunday fun day. Okay, Sunday fun day as you do a 12-hour marathon. Follow Turtle Boy on YouTube. Always compelling. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, Billy.